Coming up next on Hands on Tech, it's time to go hands-on with the Nanoleaf Canvas. Ooh, so sparkly.
Hands on Tech is brought to you from LastPass Studios. Using the same password everywhere is a security nightmare waiting to happen. LastPass easily creates unique passwords for every site. Visit lastpass.com/twit.
This is Twit.
This episode of Hands on Tech is brought to you by Epson's EcoTank printers. Now you can kiss expensive cartridges goodbye. Check out EcoTank printers at epson.com/EcoTankLeo.
This beautiful piece of art behind me is made up of what is called the Nanoleaf Canvas. That is, well, depending on how you look at it, each of these individual panels that are, as you can see, touch sensitive and light up in multiple colors. Nanoleaf is this, in my opinion, incredible company that has created a way to add light to your space in a more artistic way. It's not necessarily the most functional lighting, but it certainly is some of the most fascinating lighting that's available. They used to have, and they still sell them, they were sort of triangular shaped panels. And since then, they've come out with these new ones that are square and that provide more functionality built right into them. So each of these individual panels is touch sensitive, and you can actually set each of them up individually as control surfaces or use them all together as control surfaces. So right now, this is set to maximum brightness, and say you want to create more of an ambiance in your space, and you want to change that brightness. I can just take my hand and start at the top and scrub down, and you can see that it starts to bring down the brightness of the lighting. Now, that is all configurable from within the app. I can actually go in and adjust the gestures however I want to change what different types of gestures do. So again, I'll take that back up to maximum brightness, and a swipe from left to right changes the scene that I'm using. So I'll switch it to, I think this one is called Modern Vintage. Or no, this one might be called Mint, actually. But different ones offer different color palettes. I really like this blue one. Each of these individual panels is touch sensitive, so I can just simply double tap to turn it off, and then tap it to turn it on. Now, that is kind of the simple look at the Nanoleaf Canvas. You can set up individual lighting schemes however you want to, and of course these panels are configurable and placeable however you want them. Super cool. Each of the individual squares is connected using what Nanoleaf calls a linker. So this little doodad here slides into the side of the Nanoleaf Canvas panel. So I'll stick this in here. It's tight for the purpose of making sure that you get a good connection. And then I would slide another panel onto here, and suddenly it would be able to be controlled and offer those touch controls individually. So it's very easy to expand upon your original canvas if you so choose. What I also like is that within the app, you can let it know how many panels you have, and it will provide you different ways, different types of art that you can sort of create on your wall, depending on how many panels you have. So it kind of gives you a pattern to go off with. You don't have to necessarily try and figure it out. And the better part of that is that it tells you exactly where you should put the linkers. So if you're kind of like, oh boy, I really want to put these on my wall, but I don't know what configuration I want, and what if I run out of linkers, and what if I don't have enough? You don't have to worry about that. Nanoleaf's app takes care of all of that for you. It also lets you control and configure where the actual control panel is, because this one with the different buttons on it is the main control panel that connects to the others and communicates with those. And you can see that the power cord runs down the other side. That is also placeable wherever I so choose. My placement just so happened to be here on this side. It slides in just like a linker does. Now, as I said, you can paint it as a singular color, like a warm white if you want to, or you can get creative and change it to something. Let's go with, there's one called Netflix and Chill, for example. Starts out pretty red, but as it goes, the glow sort of changes and it gets into a darker red before it hits deep black. And I believe, yeah, that sort of starts to fade across the entire panel, just like that, and then the reds will come back. What I like too, this one's called Rain, and so you can see the animation sort of goes down as if it was rain. There is an online library of different recipes that have been created, different scenes that have been created. So you can go online, you can preview the ones that you want to try, and then download them to your canvas to keep and to actually use. There are also ones that are connected to music, and so I can have it set to this device actually will listen to the sound in the room and automatically adjust the panel. So I'll turn that on in just a second, but I want to make note that this is a new thing that's available as part of the canvas. If you have the original Nanoleaf panels, with those you had to buy a special connection that provided that audio experience. These have it already built in, which is really nice. So we'll turn on Nightclub, which is one of my favorites. And as you can see, it is responding to my voice. If I had music playing, which we can do here in a second, then it would also respond to that music. So let's give that a go. And so you get the idea. Essentially, it is listening to the music in your space, which is really fun when you're having a dance party in your house. Maybe from experience. It's quite nice to have that playing in the background. I wouldn't recommend it if you're watching a movie or something like that, where the content is kind of important, because it does tend to be a distraction. But you should check out the Philips Hue HDMI sync box review that I did for information about a way to add lighting to your experience that actually won't distract from it. And then of course, there is the last category, which is gaming or interactive. So with this category, you can actually play games with your lighting panel. I have downloaded Simon, and you start by placing your hand on the middle panel for 3 seconds. And then, just as the memory game works, I tap the panel that lit up, and it continues to add to the experience there. And I can continue to play as I go along. And so once again, you get the idea. That one is Simon. There is also Pac-Man, which is kind of awesome that you can play. The Game of Life, which I am still trying to understand. I'm not quite sure how the Game of Life works, but I know that, Conway's a very smart guy and created that game. And then Whack-A-Mole, which of course is kind of fun. So you try to smack the mole when it appears, and you go from there. Again, these are the gaming ones, the interactive gaming ones, but different categories actually involve, essentially a social media that Nanoleaf has created that allows users to create their own experiences for listening to music and having the lighting change with the music, or simply to have different animations that go across the screen.
This episode of Hands on Tech is brought to you by Epson. Now you can kiss expensive ink cartridges goodbye. Epson's EcoTank comes with a ridiculous amount of ink, so you can print thousands and thousands of pages. It has supersized, easy-to-fill ink tanks, which means you will never hassle with buying or changing ink cartridges again. It's revolutionary, and it's changing the way people print. Less frustration and more time to work on business tasks that matter. Transform the way your home or office prints and do away with out-of-ink frustration. Go to epson.com/EcoTankLeo and just fill and chill. Epson. Exceed your vision.
Now I want to talk about something that makes the Nanoleaf Canvas panels very unique and makes them quite literally some of the coolest tech, specifically for HomeKit users. Each of these individual panels, as I've shown you before, is a touch-sensitive panel. And so I can use these to turn on and turn off the panels individually. But what's awesome is if you have a HomeKit home, you can make each of these individual panels a switch within your HomeKit home. So what does that mean exactly? Well, HomeKit, which of course is Apple's home smart home platform for creating and controlling the devices that you have in your home. It lets you use several different gestures. There's the single tap gesture, there's the double tap gesture, and there's the long press gesture. And so if I wanted to, I could make each of these panels their own individual switches that could control different things in my home. That's a little bit overkill because it's all in one space. If I had many Nanoleaf panels across my home, that's a different story where I would maybe use more than one. But currently I just have one, and it is the middle panel. So when the Nanoleaf Canvas is on, and I'll turn that on there, and I will switch to another scene away from the Simon game that we were playing before. A single press in the middle turns on the lights in my living room. So I have some Philips Hue lights that are in my living room, and they are currently on. And a double tap will turn off the lights in my living room. So the HDMI sync box, the play bar, the strip behind my television, as well as some Philips Hue lights that I have on the opposite side of my room, those all turned off. I'm gonna go ahead and press to turn it on, and you'll see that those lights come back on. Then there's also the long press, and that involves a light in my kitchen so that I can make sure that that one gets turned on as well if I'd like it to. So if I wanted to, again, each of these individually could control different devices in my home, but if I'm coming home, I come up the stairs and I want a quick way to sort of turn on all the lighting, I head over to my panel on the wall and I can press that and get it done. Now, some people like to have these near their office setups. Some people like to have them, as wall art in their living room. Mine is above my fireplace, for example. So depending on where you have it, it does make for a good bit of control in your home. But there is also just something so satisfying about being able to do this and suddenly change the lighting however you like it, or to play games with it. And for me, I found the most satisfying experience definitely to be the sound sensitive control that it has, where I can play music and have the space actually react to the music that's playing. It makes for quite a fun ambiance and, like I said, an in-home dance club if you'd like. So let's talk about pricing. Well, I'm not gonna lie to you, these things are pretty pricey. Each of these individual panels uses a special technique that Nanoleaf has developed for providing light across the whole entire panel. This is LED lighting, but it's done in a way that's a little bit different from the competition. And so providing that special lighting technique, as well as the touch-sensitive panels, combined with the ability to listen to the sound and make for that sensitive experience across the whole board, that interactive experience, it does add up. You can get the 9-light panel, which is what this is, plus an extender kit. That's going to cost you $229.99. That makes it $22 per square. But it's understanding that, one, this is not a necessary product for your home. Two, this is definitely something for adding a touch of artistry and interaction if you so choose. And three, that there is quite a bit of technology packed into each one of these individual LED panels. And so it is not so ridiculous a price when you consider this unique technology that's being used to light up these panels. And like I said, the touch sensitivity across the entire set of panels is pretty incredible. So Nanoleaf is doing something different, doing something unique, and I think what also is incredibly important is that they're doing something that is very, very, very well designed. These products do not feel cheap. They do not feel like they're gonna last half a year and then be done. The lighting is consistent. I've accidentally left them on for maybe a few days, and there was no issue with them after that. They don't heat up really. They don't get very hot at all. These are really well designed panels, but not for everybody. And honestly, I don't think that I can look at someone and say, you know what you need? You need Nanoleaf panels. But if you can afford them and you want to add a touch of uniqueness to your home, and you have the choice between some $400 painting that you think you should buy or something interactive and interesting and dynamic as this, I think you should spring for this. So that is a look at the Nanoleaf Canvas panels. If you would like to check out my other work, you can check out Smart Tech Today, iOS Today, and Tech News Weekly.
Keep up with all the hottest tech news and gadgets. Visit twit.tv. There you'll be able to find and subscribe to all our tech shows. Thanks for watching Hands on Tech.